Hey everyone, it's Sean Delaney from Delaney and Sons. I'm here with Jake Shenk from Shenk Ammo, one of the vendors for the upcoming Vintage Cup. He's actually a new vendor. We're pretty excited to have him. We're pretty excited about all our vendors coming this year, but we've been trying to talk to as many of them as they can leading up to the event. And Jake managed to take some time out of what sounds like a really busy day to talk to us about his business and his interest in vintage guns. So Jake, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on again. Really appreciate it. Looking forward to being a new vendor at the Vintagers. It's an awesome event, and just beyond blessed to have our product there and help serve this market as best as we can. So a little bit about myself and my company. I started Shenk Shotshell in kind of early 2022 is when we really started getting into it. I've always kind of had a passion for the vintage guns. I'm still a young guy, so definitely not as fine of a collection as some of the guys probably at the shoot, but I'm just getting started into it. I love them, always have, and it's tough for me to find them for a couple of years to get out there and shoot my guns. And I had a sister company that did metallic and centerfire stuff, 9mm 2233 and a blackout, kind of your typical military cartridges. We dipped into some of the classic safari cartridges as well, but so I was able to kind of piece together how to get some components and some machines for this stuff and bring it in house and do it myself. And that was the kind of beginning of Shenk Shotshell. Got our machine in early this year, got our big batch of first components in and started taking pre-orders and printing shells out. So since then, it's been a little bit of a whirlwind trying to keep up with demand, as I'm sure everybody's aware. But we are getting as many shells out as we can, and just beyond blessed for the early successes and meeting some wonderful people along the way.
So you're making shotgun shells. Specifically, what kind of shells are you making?
So we right now do 12 2.5 inch. We have a number 6 that we call the grouse, and we have a number 8 that we call the quail. We'll expand into different shot sizes. Our next one is going to be a number 4 that we're going to call the pheasant. And then we'll expand into different gauges as well. So next on the list is definitely going to be 16 2.5. We are definitely focused on serving that vintage market, the low pressure short shell market. So as I mentioned, 16 2.5 is next. 12 2 inches on the docket as well. We're looking at 20, 28. Kind of just to start. We don't want to overextend ourselves as we kind of grow, but yeah, currently 12 2.5 is our bread and butter. We got a couple good loads that we're running with it, and really happy with it so far.
That's great. That's great. And yeah, obviously there are a few people out there that are making these shells, but it has been a struggle in the past 3 or 4 years. And when I found out about you and your operation and the fact that you're literally in our backyard, I was really, really curious. So
Yeah.
But in one thing, for Liz and I, we've been into vintage guns for quite some time. We're sort of in the middle of the spectrum on the age as far as the people we see at these events and the people that we shoot with. How did you get an interest in vintage guns?
Well, it started with an old single barrel break open gun that my dad bought when he was a kid. I'm sure we've all seen it before. It's probably the same one. It's an old Sears gun, and I loved it. I thought it was phenomenal. I got into it a little bit more as I kind of got older. In college, I was fortunate enough to have some friends with some really spectacular guns, some Wesley Richards, some Holland, some Purdy's, and just continue to fall in love with it. So, you know, it's definitely a unique world for a 26-year-old to be in. I definitely see that, but I love the craftsmanship. I love the history. I love the tradition of it. I love bird hunting. I've always loved bird hunting, and to be able to match something that I see as an art and true craftsmanship into just damn good fun in the field, something I've always found passion in. So that's kind of where it stemmed from. And at this point, it's really neat to take a passion project of mine and link it into what was, a business venture of mine in the centerfire metallic world, and be able to come out and, launch this line of shells. So, there are definitely a couple other manufacturers out there. They make a great product. They always have. We're just happy to throw our name into the bucket and, hopefully give people another option out there.
Oh, that's great. And so what was the trajectory? We can see from, making the center fire ammunition into shot shell, especially sensitive shot shell for vintage guns, given your interests. What was the first part of the trajectory getting into ammunition in general?
Yeah, so it was a weird one for sure. So after I graduated, I went to a little school called Hampton-Sydney down in Southern Virginia. Um, After I graduated, I spent the first couple of years of my career doing corporate growth, private equity, in a private equity backed infrastructure maintenance company. So I was doing M&A a little bit at the start of my career. I was doing a lot of corporate growth. So I really enjoyed it. I love the business aspect of it. I always thought that was kind of where I wanted to be. I had a lot of really great mentors. Actually, some of the mentors in that company ended up being vintage gun mentors as well, right? So it was a fun little cross section into that world. But you know, I got out of that job and had always really wanted to go into business for myself. Both my parents are entrepreneurs, and I always knew I wanted to do something on my own, put my name on something that I could be proud of myself. And I didn't really know it was going to be. I had no idea it was going to be ammunition at all. I had no clue. But I always grew up shooting, obviously hunting, and there was a need in the market for an ammunition manufacturer to come in where we could go as direct to the end user as possible and just try and get people product when they need it the most during the COVID spike and the high demand, low supply kind of era. So I started with an old Mark 7 single, progressive press that was a hand crank, and started cranking out 380 ACP, and spent the first probably 100,000 rounds doing that and building the brand, getting everything sorted out, cold calling people. And now it's evolved into God knows how many calibers. We make, millions of rounds on that side. So that's kind of how I got into that world. It was a weird step. You know, I, my grandfather taught me how to reload, so I always knew the basics of it. But I never really knew the machining side of it. So it was a big challenge kind of learning the actual tool and die machining side, but figured it out. And we're definitely not where I want it to be, but it's still a young company. So it's growing, it's young, it's developing. I'm trying to figure it all out, but just been beyond blessed with the success we've had so far, and with the people I've met, the clients we've had, and just really enjoying it. So with the shot shell side, it's a totally different game. I didn't know it was going to be so different. I always knew the kind of branding would be different, but it's shot shell reloading and loading is wildly different than metallic, as I'm sure anybody who reloads will tell you. And that was a big learning curve for me, and a lot of scary load development sessions came from it, but we got it sorted out and figured out, and now we have a real cool product that I'm really proud of. So
That's great. I'm really excited for you. I mean, it's a great story. It's a great product. It's a product that we need, obviously. So do you think you're going to stick with the direct consumer model, or is there a goal to be on shelves somewhere?
I'm never gonna say no to being on shelves, but with the level of components that we put into our products, they're expensive. There's just no way around them. They're really good. I don't like to skimp on stuff, especially with the type of guns that we're putting these shells through. And at the end of the day, somebody's got to knock up 30% on a shelf. That's just the retail markup. And I'd prefer to keep these as reasonably priced as possible. So if we can work something out where, I'm making enough to cut somebody else in, great, that's fine. Would love to see them on the shelf somewhere. Definitely never going to say immediately no, but as long as it's good for the end user and good for the retail shop too, that's kind of where it starts to make sense. But yeah, it's definitely an option. Not huge forefront of my mind right now though.
Oh, that's great. Well, we're excited to have you at the Vintage Cup. Do you have any questions about the event?
I don't think so, to be honest with you. I'm just really excited to meet everybody that I've talked to on the phone over the last couple months. One thing I think I talked to you about before we had this conversation was I didn't know how big this world was, but the more I'm into it, it is still a small world, which is really, really neat, right? So I had no idea the demand was going to be this insane for this product. I had absolutely no idea. It took off like wildfire when we first opened up pre-orders. And I'm just really excited to finally shake people's hands and finally meet people. So I'm looking forward to it. It's really nice that it's in our backyard. It makes it real easy to get there. And I'm very excited. I'm glad y'all are putting it on. And it's been a pleasure talking to you and Liz over the last couple of months as well. So it'll be nice to meet y'all. So I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it.
No, we're excited to have you, and looking forward to actually meeting you in person. I feel embarrassed. We live 45 minutes away from each other. We've never met,
Absolutely. We'll make it happen. Absolutely.
but people are excited to have you. It is a wonderful group of people. I mean, we've been going to the Vintage Cup, I think, since 2016. And it is just such a nice group of people. It really is like a big family. Everybody knows each other, but they're welcoming of new people coming in. And no, we're really excited. Guess the last thing, well, two questions. One, what's your website for everybody so they can check everything out? And then the second thing is, would people be able to pre-order for the show? So it would be delivered at the show.
Yeah. So I haven't quite thought about pre-ordering for the show. They should be able to. If you go on our website, and we're still pretty backlogged right now, to be completely honest with you. But if you go ahead and order and you make a note on your order that you want it just held for you at the show, we'll just refund your shipping and make sure that we get it to you at the show. We're also planning on having product there at the cup. So yeah, I mean, feel free, pre-order. Hopefully we'll have enough there. I've already ordered a lot more components for this event, so I'm hoping to have plenty in stock for when we get there. But if you are interested in back ordering some, the website is shenkshotshells.com, SHENK, Shotshell Co. And you'll learn a little bit more about the company there. You'll be able to see the two kind of products we're offering right now. Got one box sitting here of our grouse. This is our number 6. So website's on the back as well. You can see it right there. And yeah, we will definitely have some there, and really looking forward to getting some product into people's hands.
Thanks, Jake. Nice
Okay.
meeting you, and I look forward to meeting you in person in a couple weeks.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. Thanks again.